The presence of fiber or protein in significant amounts really kind of determines if a food is healthy or not. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. One of these topics, it's a bit of nuance, and when I make that statement, I am not saying there are not exceptions to the rule. I'm not saying people can't create really refined foods and enhance them this way and that it's the same thing. So again, when we give general guidelines, I do want to be clear. Finding exceptions to a general guideline that is absurdly helpful to people does not make you intelligent. In fact, it's actually a mark that you're not as bright as you think you are, because you're misunderstanding the concept and then misapplying data. So in this case, what we are saying though is, generally speaking, this is how you can look at foods and determine, yeah, this is a healthy food or not, or healthier. Okay, because that is really what we need to be looking at. I mean, we start looking at healthy versus unhealthy. Where does a food kind of fall in the spectrum? Where does it fall in the continuum? Obviously, it is in the context of your entire diet. So again, that makes it really complicated for people. That means that there's a lot of times way more nuance than the layman really has time to look at. Because I'll be honest, does the average person really have time always to figure out, what's our saturated fatty acid versus omega-3 fat in this? What is our exact fructose to fiber ratio, right? What polyphenols are in this food? I mean, people don't always have time for that. So when we're looking as just a quick guideline, you're looking at foods, looking at the protein content as it pertains to the total calories, tells you how good of a protein source is. Because normally I would say, I've heard a legit expert, again, bodybuilder with a PhD in nutrition, who is actually a very serious bodybuilder on top of it, say that junk food is basically fiber-free food. Okay. And that checks, because if you look at it, what do we think of as, oh man, this is really kind of a true junk food? Cake, ice cream, candy, right? You look at those foods, there's nearly zero fiber in it relative to the total calories. And if anything, oftentimes those foods have zero fiber. Okay? They often have zero fiber. None. Now granted, a Snickers bar might have some nuts in it, but I mean, that's not going to make it a healthy food. But then we start looking at, what do we think of as healthy versus unhealthy in terms of ratios, how refined it is. Well, the more refined a food becomes, the lower the fiber content goes. Now I'll get over to protein in a minute, because protein sources tend to be fiber free. And that's kind of again, a little bit of an exception there. But again, we're looking for protein. Protein is good for body composition. It's good for weight management. All right, we want protein. But let's talk about the fiber thing. All right, look at white rice versus brown rice. Perfect example. We generally think of brown rice is healthier than white rice. Well, all the fiber is still in it. We haven't milled all the fiber off. And I want to be clear, it doesn't have a huge amount. But the fiber quality in brown rice is high. Like, again, notice the way your body digests it, the way it impacts. I mean, look how much when you eat brown rice, it still comes out with that hull in there. And we think of that as a very healthy food. Okay. Oats. But the more we refine these different foods, the lower the fiber becomes. Okay? The lower the fiber goes, because the refinement process itself lowers fiber. But again, we all know this. We know that fiber is positively correlated with an enormous number of health benefits: gut health, blood sugar control, appetite control, all these things. But we also, here's the other thing, fiber content of the food is also often correlated with how much of the good stuff has been chopped out of it. Vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, polyphenols, all these different things, okay, they get reduced. Same thing, you make juice out of fruit. How much of the good stuff have you lost, right? We lost a good chunk. What happens if we take fiber out of fruit? The fiber in the matrix of the food The fruit is what keeps the sugar from being a problem for us, right? It's a big difference between refined sugars versus that. Like that fiber content in it, in that natural matrix of it, completely changes the way that we digest it, the way the stuff hits the bloodstream, right? It's kind of a big deal. Kind of a big deal. So it's a good assessment, right? You know, the fiber content. Just look at quick flip over, look at the fiber. Now, granted, there are junk foods that have these things added, but are they less junky? That's the kind of the beautiful question. If I take whatever protein bar, candy bar type thing that we would think of as kind of a semi-processed junk food, but they add a bunch of extra fiber and protein powder to it, have they objectively made it healthier? Yeah. Would I still constitute it as an amazing health food? No. But is it healthier on the spectrum? The fiber and the protein alone did that. That itself positively impacted the food. Took something that's a pure junk food to, well, we'll make it a semi-healthy junk food. Okay. And I think that's a good way to define it. Shifting it where it's at on that spectrum. Then we come over to protein the same way, right? Unless it's omega-3 fats in your protein, animal source fats are generally not beneficial to us particularly. And I'm not saying in moderate amounts they're a problem. They are not a problem in moderate amounts. Okay. Saturated fats generally not optimal to consume. So when we start looking at the best protein sources, the lower the protein as a percentage of the calories, the higher the saturated fat. But we want those mainly for the protein. Oftentimes there's other things we want, iron and B12, and there's other stuff in these animal foods that we want. We all know this, okay? But the protein is usually largely what we're after, especially body composition purposes. So the same can be said. You can look at it and go, well, how much of it is protein? And that's a good way to look at it. In other words, a chicken breast, probably overall healthier, overall better for body composition than a really fatty ribeye or a sausage, right? Or bacon. A very easy way to look at it. And it works and it's simple. Right? And our fat sources really shouldn't be from those things. Again, barring salmon or something, which is fantastic. Really, our protein sources should be leaner because we want our fat sources to come from healthy stuff. Eat an avocado, eat some walnuts, right? You want healthy fats. And they're full of fiber. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.